Purdue is in West Lafayette, which is remote location, but yet Purdue is also in Microsoft. It's also in Amazon. So how is it possible?
The companies come to Purdue to recruit, like physically on site.
They just landed, and within couple months they are having co-op opportunities. I mean, what are you guys doing at Purdue MEM that students are landing and yet being able to get that opportunities?
The job search, whether that's intern co-op or frankly full-time, depending on the student, that is from day one of orientation that process begins. So
how are people able to do co-op after first semester?
we interview every candidate before they get an offer or not.
So 100% on-campus job, 100% co-ops. What is the ratio for full-time job? Before we dive into all the strategies and stories that we're going to discuss in this podcast, let me ask you this. Do you have a clear job hunting strategy to get an internship or a full-time job? Most people don't, and it's costing them opportunities. I've helped over 1,100 students with their strategies through my ultimate job hunting course.
And trust me, I'm not even kidding. I could see so many recruiters viewing my profile.
And it's been the best investment I've ever made.
The content is incredibly practical, filled with tips and strategies that make you stand out to recruiters.
It was one of the best courses that I have done till date.
This course covers everything that you need to stand out. You will get ultimate resume course, you will get ultimate LinkedIn course, networking strategy, access to 1,100 plus job seekers for support, and personal support from me through WhatsApp group. I will walk you through every single step that you need with real examples and the tools that will give you an edge. I don't want you to miss any other opportunity to land your next job or an internship, so check the link in the description. And now I will let you enjoy the podcast. Thank you, Eric, for doing this. We are in California, so welcome to California, and thank you for inviting me. This is amazing. We are in Silicon Valley. I think I could probably see Google's office from here. Meta is a few minutes away, etc. But before we get into this podcast, let's do a quick intro. Who are you? And then we'll go from there.
Yeah, sure. Thanks, Yudi. It's good to be together in California. My name's Eric Vandevoorty. I am the executive director for our Master of Engineering Management program at Purdue University. And more recently, we have some additional programs that we offer that are more industry focused and technically specialized as well. So I just celebrated a decade.
Nice, congratulations.
Which I got the gray hair to prove it at Purdue MEM. Thank you very much. I'm really proud of that decade, and it makes me look forward to the next one. I'm here. The reason I built my career in higher ed is because I believe in helping people achieve their potential.
Nice.
For me, that's something that brings a lot of meaning to my work and enjoyment and motivation. So, looking forward to the next decade with Purdue MEM.
Amazing. And again, when we say MEM, it's Masters in Engineering Management.
Thank you for that, yes.
Yeah. And I have to say, I've spoken to multiple Purdue MEM students, and there's probably no one who has ever said that they don't think of you as a mentor, father figure. I think they even called you, one of the students called you Papa Bear, which is really interesting. I love that you have very close relationship with the students, which is mind-blowing. What drives you for that?
Yeah, that's a good question. And I appreciate a good nickname, so I'll graciously accept that one.
I won't tell you who to be that.
Yeah, please don't. It's better that I not know. It's definitely better that I not know. What drives me, I would say, what I would like to believe that I'm helping to influence here through working with students is a generation of technical leaders and managers that have all the tools that they need to perform at a high level, to carry forward that Purdue reputation of excellence, on the technical side of things, and that also have the ethics and the integrity and the moral compass to make those profitable decisions in a way that considers the impact on a human being.
Yeah.
Goods and services directly or indirectly are reaching all of us. And so I would like to think that my contribution is ultimately influencing future generations of industry leaders to help their companies grow and be successful, but, also thinking about humanity as a centerpiece.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure they are grateful for the career that they are able to build, and a lot of dreams getting fulfilled. Also, I want to understand, why are we in Silicon Valley? I mean, Purdue is in West Lafayette.
Yeah.
It's a super small college town, but we are in California. What are you doing here?
I'm asking myself that same question. No, it's so fun to be here. Believe it or not, I've got a conference presentation next week, as does Karen Hull, our co-leader of Purdue MEM. And anytime that we're traveling around the States and frankly even abroad, if we're in a city where we have alumni, if we're in a city where we have co-op students working in industry roles, we always try to make time to connect with them for a fun activity or a social gathering, a meal. And so while we're here for the conference, we're actually going to be, I guess what I'll say, the last day and a half, I've actually been meeting up with alums from the building careers here in Apple and Meta and Tesla and Google and others. It's been a lot of fun so far. So thank you for making time to drive over.
Yes, no, absolutely. I'm glad that you invited me. I've had pleasure of talking to so many Purdue MEM students when I was at Purdue campus, and I know this was like our session was like waiting and holding, and I was like, okay, this is the time we're gonna do it. And I met someone who just was in Apple, and I know I'm gonna meet with some of the Tesla co-op students. So this is great. And the reason I was asking this question is because there's a myth that location plays a big role, and it does. I would not agree. I mean, I would not disagree with that. Purdue is in West Lafayette, which is remote location, but yet Purdue is also in Microsoft. It's also in Amazon robotics, and it's also in Tesla and Walmart and Apple and Google, which is not in West Lafayette. So how is it possible that you guys are making this happen?
Yeah, great question. I think the first piece I would go back to is probably just the reputation of Purdue University. When you've got a history, as extensive as we do, over 150 years, our alumni are everywhere. And so yes, we're based in the Midwest and West Lafayette, as you noted, but the reality is that the Purdue community is global and it's throughout the United States. So I think that's maybe the first piece I would mention. The second piece I suppose I would note, we actually have maybe of Purdue alumni, the Bay Area is like the second or third highest concentration of Purdue alums that are living here. So that's also part of the ecosystem where our students are operating, where our alumni are part of. And then I think the third piece would be a key feature of Purdue Engineering Management at the master's level is this full year of industry co-op opportunity. And in many cases, our students are coming out here to the West Coast, in the Bay Area, in Seattle and other, in Los Angeles, and are, spending up to that full year working with a company. Naturally, a lot of those offers convert, into full-time roles. Folks are networking while they're out here. So I would say that's a big piece too. And then maybe the last piece, the fourth piece I would mention, is the fact that companies come to Purdue to recruit, physically on site, taking time, taking money to send recruiters, to send alumni during our industrial roundtable career fair that happens each September.
I was
400 companies. Yeah, that was our first meeting, I think, right?
Yeah.
Surrounding the product management conference too, which was really fun. Thanks again for being there. I think the fact that Purdue, has such a draw for companies that they're actually willing to still invest resources, substantial ones, to be on campus and visiting with our students, that helps as well.
Hey, before we move on to the next part of the video, I want to quickly talk about our newsletter community, which you can be part of absolutely free. We are now going strong and we have more than 40,000 people in our newsletter community. So imagine 40,000 people are receiving my newsletter every single week, twice a week, where I break down all of the stories that we did and make it a valuable resource for you. So if you're someone who doesn't have time to watch this and you just want to get an email with all of the resources into an email, that is the place to be. I'll put the link in the description. I'll give you some example. This is the one for Tanvi, where how she got 2 co-ops and she paid off her entire master's fees. This is an example of Maya, where she got 3 co-ops and she paid off her fees plus a little bit of savings. Here is an example of Sahil, who got his green card in 3 years. Here is an example where we shared a bunch of resources on job hunting. So I promise this is going to be valuable resource for you, and it doesn't cost you anything. If you want to be part of our newsletter community, link will be in the description, or you can go to link.yudij.com/newsletter. This is the URL. And now I'll let you enjoy the video. Yeah, and I love the fact that you are not only meeting the co-op student, but also the alumni. I know when we were in India, we did the events together. You were also looking for opportunity to see if there is any alumni, even who have graduated and settled in India, but you still wanted to build. So I think relationship is something that you value, and it shows. There is a Tesla day, there is a Walmart day at Purdue, and all these companies are coming, especially to recruit. Is that an intentional decision that this is how we're gonna drive the industry results?
Yeah, good question. I think we're an industry-focused program. That's the genesis of our identity. You know, the program was created based on feedback from the College of Engineering's Industrial Advisory Council. So they said we need a different skill set. We still want the technical depth, but our business needs are changing, our organizational needs are changing. We need somebody that has the management and the business acumen as a complement to the technical depth. So from the very beginning, we're an industry-focused program. And so the more we can get our students connected to industry, whether it's through co-op experiences, whether it's through case competitions, whether it's through hiring channels and referral opportunities, whether it's through industry-sponsored projects in our classes, like all of that informs a better perspective for our students about how do their skills and their knowledge that they're gaining from the curriculum, how do those translate into the quote-unquote real world, right? So I think that's just really an intrinsic part of the program, is industry-oriented applied learning.
Yeah, I love it. And again, we are filming this in 2025 when the job market is extremely brutal, especially for international students. Yet, I spoke to a few Purdue MEM students. One of them is in Amazon, Walmart, couple of them in Microsoft. And it's just mind-blowing that even though they just landed and within couple months they are having co-op opportunities. What are you guys doing at Purdue MEM that students are landing and yet being able to get that opportunities?
Okay, this is a good question too. It puts a smile on my face that you are also seeing that from our alums, and maybe if you're talking to folks, hearing that from them directly, because I think that lends a lot of credibility to their experience. So that warms my heart to know that you're getting that input from our alumni and our current students. We would be remiss if we were not acknowledging that it's a challenging job market, right? Yeah. And yet at the same time, our students are seeing consistent success, which is pretty awesome. I think the first thing I'll do is give credit to our students, quite frankly. They're very talented, motivated, kind people. They really buy into our process as a program and the resources that we provide. So definitely lion's share of the credit to the students. The second thing I would say is the job search, whether that's intern co-op or frankly full-time, depending on the student, that is from day one of orientation that process begins. So it's something that's, again, intrinsic to the experience. We're starting with workshops on resume writing, on leveraging AI in your job search, on strategies for networking, on referral opportunities. We're offering one-on-one guidance with Katie Hutzel, our senior career advisor, who has a decade of industry tech recruiting experience before joining us. For one-on-one resume guidance, interview prep. We work with Exponent, as a great tool for students that are trying to go into product. So frankly, sometimes even before students have arrived on campus, we're already engaged with them in the job search, which seems maybe a bit surprising or odd to some folks, but for us, that's like your fifth academic class that you're taking, right? Yeah. So it's really built into the process from the very beginning. And then I guess the third piece, I will give a lot of credit to our community. And when I say community, I'm talking about alums. I'm talking about industry partners that sometimes don't even go to a career fair anymore. They just want to hire from us. Large, huge tech companies that come to campus, but then while they're there also do a session just with MEM.
Yeah.
So that community is all that, the relationships that we've built, the trust that we've established, and our team has the mindset that every student that walks in the door with us will be successful. It's not a matter of if, it's a matter of when. And so we are undeterred by the job market. Macro conditions, those are outside of our control. We're going to focus on relationships and the nuts and bolts of the job search and making sure our students understand how to successfully navigate the process with us as a team guide and as a mentor.
Yeah, love that. And another question I get asked about Purdue MEM is that how are people able to do co-op after first semester? Because typically people get to do that after they say one academic year or two semester, but in Purdue, you guys get to do almost a year long, and I have a follow-up, but how is that possible?
Yeah, so in our 2-year concentration, the professional practice piece, otherwise known as the co-op, is a mandatory component of fulfilling our degree requirements. And so it's because of that our students are able to begin that work experience after one semester.
First semester, okay. And again, I've spoken to students when I was on the campus, plus I was able to also do it while a lot of podcasts that I filmed, a lot of them, because they get to do 1 year co-op, they are able to pay off the fees. What's the Purdue's tuition fees?
Yeah, so our total tuition is roughly $45,000 right now for the program. We feel like that's a really relatively...
It's a steal.
Yeah.
It's a steal.
We feel good about where we're at there, and then when you look at an ROI equation, it feels pretty good too. So.
Yeah, and cost of living, like what would you say?
Yeah, I was just talking with an alum, who was talking about renting a parking spot in San Francisco, and it was $500 a month for their vehicle. They said that's what I was paying for rent in West Lafayette. So I got a kick out of that.
Yeah, 100%. And what do you think is typical salary range, and what are some of the roles people end up getting as a co-op?
Yeah, great question too. Yeah, when it comes to the co-op, there's a lot of benefit to be gained, certainly one of which is the compensation that our students earn, right? And that's a direct factor in being able to graduate with no debt or very little debt, right? Sometimes even a surplus I hear from time to time, which is amazing to me. So yeah, our range, I would say, for co-ops is usually in the 30s, all the way up to like 45 maybe, let's say, depending on the location and the type of role and the company.
And that's per hour? Per
hour, yes. Yeah, so if you extrapolate that to a full year of earnings, if we're talking about anywhere from $70,000 to $90,000 US for the year as a student, that's pretty solid.
And the fees is just 45, so most students pay off before even they graduate.
Yeah, the math kind of does itself, I guess. It's a very favorable math. In terms of the roles too, we see a lot of variation there. Students come from all different industry backgrounds, all different academic backgrounds, across engineering, sometimes even non-engineering STEM roles, whether that's CS or physics or mathematics on occasion. And because of that wide range of skill sets, and the flexibility of the courses that students take while they're with us, the range of roles is very broad for co-ops. So, product management is certainly very common for our students right now. Supply chain management, operations management, project management, technical program management, sometimes consulting roles, occasionally an entrepreneurship type of position, business analytics. It's just an incredible range, all from one program, which is really fun for us.
Yeah, 100%. And now I want to drive the conversation, because I think we talked about, what students can do at Purdue and the success they can get. But I want to talk about coursework as well, because there are a couple interesting things that I learned when I was at the campus is you guys have a couple of courses where they get to be part as a student consultant for a local businesses or a global businesses and help solve them the problem. What are some of these courses and what is it?
Yeah, absolutely. It is pretty cool. The good news is there are multiple opportunities like this, right? So, usually our students complete 10 courses to get to their 30 credit hours. And so if you have 2, 3, 4 of your classes that have direct project components, often with industry sponsorship or direct industry projects, you're building a lot of experiences on top of the co-op itself, right? So one example would be the Experiential Learning Initiative. This is through our Daniels School of Business, where interdisciplinary teams are paired with an industry partner, and I won't name names, but they're really great companies. For a project that's scoped out, and they're basically coming in as consultants and knocking that work out in conjunction with their industry partner. We have a course called the Social Impact Startup Academy, where teams of MEM students, and this is an MEM specific opportunity right now. Our teams of our students work with a social enterprise, usually located outside the U.S., sometimes in Africa, sometimes in Latin America, sometimes in Asia. I know we just had a team of students that went to Thailand for a week, very generously during their spring break, to work with their partner. Yeah, and I had the pleasure of taking a team of students to Tanzania a couple of years ago as well, to work with a partnership there. So, and that one's great because you get end-to-end ownership over the project and the deliverables. We have the Data Mine, which is a university center, obviously focused on data, where a lot of our students actually can get hired as like teaching assistants, and then they're leading multiple teams of students that are working on industry-sponsored data-oriented projects. Our students can do an independent study as well. It's a long list. I'll stop.
Yeah. And another thing, I don't know if that's a part of the coursework, or is it just Purdue MEM department doing this, where you guys either take them to the conferences or you take them to the office tours. Is that part of the coursework? Is that part of the MEM department effort to have students get into more and more networking opportunities?
Yeah, that's something, because of our location, we do have close proximity to Indianapolis. That's only 1 hour away. We have close proximity, relatively speaking, to Chicago.
Yeah, 2
only
hours.
2 hours away.
Yeah.
You could take a shuttle, you can hire a bus, you can drive. So, for an example, during our orientation week, we usually do an industry day. Last year we did that in Indianapolis. The year before we did that in Chicago. Where students...
Like an industry day, what does that mean?
Yeah, great question. Let's see. Basically, we're trying to get our students to see firsthand, what's going on
like
with a particular
shadowing
company. So we went to Google's offices in Chicago. We went to Samsung's offices in Chicago. We went to, last year we welcomed some recruiters in to host a panel on what the hiring process looks like. So some of it is seeing firsthand, going to the companies. Some of it is bringing the companies to us. And, again, talking about, what skills are needed, what's the hiring process look like, what's the culture, why does it matter? Just trying to give our students a full picture, on the technical side, and then also on the job search process side.
Yeah, I love that. And again, because I had the first-hand opportunity to talk to students who were studying that, they told me about these conferences. Some of them also got to go to Society of Women Engineer Conference, Grace Hopper Conference. Is that encouraged / more advised to the student?
Yeah, great question too. For us, we understand the value of networking, and we understand the value of finding mentors and hearing firsthand from the people that are doing the work that you want to go do. So, for example, the Society of Women Engineers Conference was in Chicago last year. We actually chartered like a couple buses, and I think we had over 80 students go to the conference, which was great. It was such close proximity. We wanted to maximize the impact there. There are opportunities for students to receive scholarships or professional development funding, from a lot of different offices on campus, to like the Women Computes Initiative, for example, to go attend Grace Hopper, let's say. So again, anytime we can get our students engaging with industry, we are supportive of that.
That is cool. Okay, so now switching gears, stats wise, because I also don't want to paint like super rosy picture. I'm a fanboy of Purdue, but I want to also make sure that people know the reality as well. Is it what one of the other things that I do want to mention and call out is what I like is the cohort size is still small, and that is intentional choice and decision as well, because you do want to provide that one-on-one relationship and one-on-one professor relationship and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
So does everybody end up getting a co-op, or what's the percentage, like how many out of like percentage wise ends up getting co-op?
Yeah, absolutely. I would say our historical data, even, and this is in great times and this is in challenging times, okay? Our data will show us that every student that's seeking to find an internship or a co-op will get one. Everyone's on their different path, right? They may not get one for the spring semester after fall, right?
Yeah.
It may take a little longer time, but our data will show us that students that are looking for interns and co-ops will get internships and co-ops.
Amazing.
Which is, yeah.
That is amazing. So, and what I also like is there's 3 different opportunities. There is, if people came in fall, hopefully this video will go out in fall, before fall students. So there's a fall they will come in fall. So there is a spring co-op, then there is a summer internship program, and then there is again another fall. So there's 3 different opportunities. So you are saying at least in one of them opportunities, student will end up getting
Correct.
one. Not all 3, but at least one.
Correct. It's kind of our version of the thesis is what I've been thinking about it lately. That's how I've been thinking about it lately, is that it's that co-op, that internship, on-site experience is our version of a thesis. We're an industry-focused program, not a research-focused program. So that experience is really essential for our students to get out there. Something else that's kind of shifted for us post-COVID is students going to do experiences at multiple companies. Prior to 2020, really we wanted students to be at that same company. And there were pros and cons to that. You get additional depth, you get a longer opportunity for networking, you can show more impact perhaps. But of course, that needed to adjust, in 2020. And we realized there were a lot of really great benefits for students going to 2 or 3 companies, not only maybe different roles, different types of work culture, different locations of the country, which is really fun too. There aren't a lot of times in life when you can live in multiple places in such a short duration of time and have it be progress, right? So yeah, we've really noted some huge advantages to students
Switching around the industry.
Switching around.
Yeah.
Well, and how do I want to say this? Like, obviously all our students come in with a goal.
Yeah.
Right. This is the path or the track I'm on. I want to go into a PM or a TPM or ops or supply chain, etc. But you're still a student.
Yeah.
You're right. So we want you to explore. We don't want you to have such a narrow viewpoint that you're not learning and being curious and being open to other opportunities. And sometimes it is that role that you didn't necessarily anticipate you would go for that opens your eyes and you say, oh, this is like a great fit for me. And I would have never even had that chance to explore it if I wasn't going through this co-op experience. So on top of all the sort of measurable, tangible benefits, shall we say, of the co-op, to me, that's actually the most foundational, and the one that's most important is just an affirmation in one direction or another of this is the direction I want to go in my career because this
100%.
work speaks to me.
Yeah, 100%. And speaking of stats also, one of the other things that people like to know is on-campus jobs.
Sure.
Because some of them are planning that, okay, I'm going to do a lot of my cost of living through on-campus job. I've been to multiple campuses and multiple universities where that is a challenge. But in Purdue, I saw interesting, everybody had on-campus job. Plus, there are some roles which were even more interesting to me. But according to you, do you think everybody end up getting an on-campus job?
Yeah, here's what we're in a really great position.
Yeah.
Because Purdue MEM, our enrollment is smaller.
Yeah.
And so we're kind of, my team and I, we're supporting this small group of students. We have the community that we build. And so you have this boutique experience almost. And then at the same time, you're part of this pretty massive enterprise.
Yeah.
If we want to phrase it in that way. Certainly a large campus in terms of enrollment and centers and hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of faculty and all different kinds of retail outlets and offices. And so because of that combination, I will tell you this, I've never heard from a student that wanted a campus job that they could not find one. And, it's a range of roles, right? It can be in that teaching assistant capacity up to 20 hours a week part-time, as you know. Sometimes it's as a grader or a tutor, working with athletics sometimes. Sometimes it's with our data mine or our Center for the Management of Manufacturing Enterprises. Sometimes it's, like at a Starbucks.
Yeah.
And that's kind of cool because it's something totally different from what you're doing in the rest of your day.
Yeah.
You get some goodies, you get to meet a lot of people, and you learn all about coffee, which I think is great. So
100%. And if you end up working in the restaurant, which is also another thing that Purdue has, is like restaurant, you also end up getting some tips too. So
that goes a long way. Well, and it's just such an working in a range of jobs as a student is just really part of the U.S. experience for education, right? I worked like at a library. I worked in a dining court. I worked at an ice cream shop. I did a range of roles as a student, and that's something that's respected, it's encouraged, and it's a great conversation starter. It also allows you to talk with recruiters and hiring managers about time management and about work ethic and about communication skills and all these other things. So on-campus jobs I think are really a valuable way not only to generate supplemental income, but also to really add fantastic networking and professional skills to your profile.
100%. And so 100% on-campus job, 100% co-ops. Let's also just go to full-time jobs.
Hearing you say it out loud kind of, it's,
what is the ratio for full-time job? Because again, MEM is a cohort is like 80-ish student or like a little less than 80. Does everybody end up getting a full-time job?
Great question as well. I would say in this case, we're not quite at 100%, but I would say consistently about 95%.
That is huge. Yeah.
It feels good. You mentioned the market right now. So right now, yes, it's taking students a little longer. Yes, it's taking students more applications. And unfortunately, probably there's a little more stress into that process, right? We are, for any student who doesn't have a position by the time they graduate, we're actually continuing to provide support, and that's not only job search strategies and referral opportunities, but it's also like community. Like we're going to get there. We're with you till you get there, right? So even for that small group of students that needs a little extra time, we're still part of that process until they cross the finish line.
And I'll add an experience, one of the students, when I did a podcast with them, they shared with me, is that they were super overwhelmed at the co-op that they were doing. And they reached out to one of I think it was Karen, and she's like, hey, let's just jump on a call. And it was just like, how are you doing? And maybe you need to take a break and maybe take it easy. And I think that also just goes a long way, especially when you are seeing rejections every single day, just someone to talk to.
Yes, 100%. We're human beings. Right? Like we need somebody that's in our corner, that's our advocate and believes in us. We all need that. We all need that. And for us to be able to provide that to our students, it's a gift. Like for us to be able to do that. And we're, it's not just successes, and we're not living the Instagram life. We're here for reality. Okay, so like through thick and thin, ups and downs, like we're with our students the whole way.
But I think that's also because of the smaller cohort size. I don't think if you had 200 or 300 or 400 size, it would like start to get unmanageable, and that personal relationship probably gets like harder and harder.
I will say two things to that. This particular admission cycle that we're wrapping up here shortly has been the most challenging one for our admissions committee to make decisions. That and believe me, there have been many other challenging years too, progressively so, but the applicants have made it really tough on us this year in a good way, because the quality is so high, the interviews are so fantastic. It's really tough to not be able to accept a student that will be able to succeed. But if we're going to maintain the smaller program where it allows us to give them more personalized attention and one-on-one guidance, that's that has to happen, unfortunately, right? I think the second piece I would share is just about our team and why, like, I've been able to hire every member of my team. I feel lucky to say that. And we're you know, people have earned promotions, and we're all still together as a core. And they're all in it for the right reasons, you know, from Karen to Katie to Randy to Tyler and myself. Like, we're all here because we believe in helping people achieve their potential, and this is the way we think we're doing some good in the world. So I think for those two things, those two elements, it's really important for our student success.
Yeah. All right. How do people get into Purdue? Because, like you said, it's a challenging season, but I'm sure people are also, like, fall 2026 batch is going to start thinking about, like, okay, this sounds great. I want to be in Purdue. What is the magic sauce?
Oh, okay. Put me on the spot here. Let's see.
And what if they use this, like, oh, Eric said this, now I will get an admission.
Right. Don't hold me to, you know, okay. No, I do want to provide some useful perspective here. Details matter. And not just details on one or two of the documents that you submit. You know, every statement, every resume, every letter of recommendation needs to have attention to detail and equal importance, equal weight of importance for you as an applicant. So, you know, sometimes I'm looking through somebody's materials and everything's great, and then I get to a resume and it's, you know, just maybe not been updated, or it's just not that level of quality from a grammatical or an organizational standpoint, detail standpoint, you know, and that's a factor. You know, the vice versa, you know, the flip of that would be maybe all those documents are fantastic, but when I get to letters of recommendation, it's a few sentences from somebody, right? And for us, part of the reason our process maybe sometimes takes longer for the reviews is because we're so thorough. We're not looking at a spreadsheet and making decisions based on some kind of ranking system. Like, we're looking through every single applicant's materials, often multiple times. So we get really familiar with those details, and that attention to the minute things matters a lot, especially when you're in such a competitive environment. So I guess that would be one thought. A second piece would be, if you're applying to Master of Engineering Management, you know, whether it's with us or elsewhere, you need to know why. Right? And articulate it in a way that's authentic and connected to you as an individual. You know, and be specific, you know, not just because it's a blend of engineering and management. That's sort of apparent, right? Go more in depth. Like, you want to go into product, and here's why, and how is MEM connected to that journey, right? What are the specific classes that you want to take? You know, who have you talked to from our alumni network or current students that are giving you some perspective about their thoughts as a student? That shows us that you're investing in the process. You're not applying on a whim. You know, you're taking it seriously, and you know why you want to be with us, right? Because when we're evaluating, we're kind of answering two questions. Can the student be successful, right? And are we a fit for what they want? Because we feel a responsibility if we admit somebody that we're committing to them, and vice versa. It's a two-way street, not a one-way street. So we need to know that we are going to, the resources and what we provide from a curricular standpoint, from a professional development standpoint, that we are aligned in that regard. So that would be another element, I suppose, to consider. And then last thought, at the risk of talking too long here, which I've been known to do. So
it's all good.
My apologies, but the interview, we interview every candidate before they get an offer or not. So a couple, and I don't usually share these things, so I'll share them now. I think it's okay. The first thing, every now and then, maybe a student, if they get an interview, thinks that that's an admit.
Got it.
And that's not true. This is, you're almost there, but you're not there yet. And so you have to treat that interview seriously, not be maybe too casual a little bit about it, or too familiar, you know, and you know, we try to make it a comfortable experience, and it's a conversation, kind of just like what we're doing now, but it is a central lever of a yes or a no, or a wait list or something, you know. And when you prep for that interview, bring your energy, bring questions, and again, talk to fellow students, talk to alums, like keep researching, keep showing interest. So yeah, when we do the interviews, those would be a couple things I don't normally tell people up front.
Yeah. And this probably I'm getting super tactical here.
Let's do it.
GRE, very important topic. I've heard, I think a few years ago, it was known that Purdue is super GRE heavy. Is that still true?
Yeah, great question. The short answer is no. GRE is now optional. It's not waived. For us, optional means you can submit it or not submit it, right? I will say our admissions committee likes still to see GRE scores. They find it a useful data point, but it's not a requirement at all. And I would say for this current cycle, we've seen a pretty healthy balance of people submitting and not submitting. What would lead a candidate to choose to do that or not? To me, the question to answer is, does this strengthen my application? Okay, then submit GRE. Does this reaffirm how strong my application is already? Then submit GRE. Does this maybe take it in a different direction or lead to questions? Or, I've been working for 5 years, I didn't have enough time to study and prep, understandably. Then we don't need the GRE, right? You have 5 years of work X. So just kind of evaluate for yourself as a candidate, like, does this maybe address questions in my profile and make it stronger? Does this affirm how strong it is already? If so, then we'd love to see a GRE. If it goes in a different direction or adds questions in a less than desirable way, leave it out. And then I guess the natural question that a candidate would ask is, okay, yeah, but really, do I need it or not need it, right? Like when we say optional, we really do mean optional.
Yeah.
It's not harmful to your application if you don't have one.
Yeah. I mean, and I was going to ask you, but you kind of already addressed it, that what does it compensate? Like if you don't have it, like you said, 5 years of work experience and you don't have time and you got like 300-ish, like, oh no, I think I would rather just be off, not submitting. So, gotcha. Okay. And now another question that this is maybe myth, but people think SOP, which is statement of purpose, the most important thing, and LOR doesn't matter, or LOR the most important, SOP doesn't matter. Is there any one of those which is like you guys look at it and it's like, I think that's the most important document, or is it resume, or is it the holistic thing? And if it is, what is the ideal candidate look like?
Okay. You're putting me on the spot, but I like it. Okay.
You thought it was going to be easy.
I was hoping at least. I will say, okay. Again, this isn't something I usually say publicly. But the first thing I will say is it's absolutely holistic. Like sincerely holistic. Every single document that is submitted that we require, I look at. Our admissions committee looks at. So absolutely it is holistic. But I will share something I've not shared before, which is there is an order that I usually look through documents. And that doesn't necessarily mean one's more important or not important, but I don't always,
it starts to set like
it does.
The preference, but okay, so we're gonna get the order.
Yes, we are. After I look at the sort of summary page in our system, the next thing I do is I look at a resume. After I look at a resume, then I'll look at the statement of purpose. After the statement of purpose, I will look at what Purdue has as a personal statement to see, what other insights might be available there. After that, I will look at the letters. Do we look at them all? Absolutely. For every single candidate. We weight them differently though when we talk about holistic, right? So, there is no one size fits all for the candidate that is right for Purdue MEM. So, if I'm thinking of unique cases, if it's somebody who's coming directly from a bachelor degree, and that's maybe like 20-25% of our students, right? If you're coming directly from a bachelor degree, like your GPA will matter more because you don't have experience to counter that. And maybe that's a case where a GRE would also be helpful and you're in student mode anyway, so you're studying, and
Yeah.
maybe that's the right time to do that, right? Whereas, let's say somebody that's got 5 years of work ex in consulting or in oil and gas or in tech or in financial, fintech, financial services, your GPA starts to matter a little less as far as factors that are weighted, right? And the GRE, similar scenario, right? So, but then the extra pressure is on your resume and on your statements, right? So it's always a give and a take as far as how these different factors come together. So it's holistic for us, absolutely. We review every single required document before a decision is made, and that leads into the interview. But yes, after the summary of someone's profile, I look at resume, I look at statement of purpose, I look at personal statement, then I look at letters.
Nice. Love it. Okay. And LORs, letter of recommendation, you said you do look at it.
Yes.
Professors, non-professors, managers, is there preference, importance?
Yeah. I think for any candidate, you need to weight those based on the type of program that you're going into, right? So obviously if you're going into a research-intensive thesis program, probably those need to be focused on any kind of R&D that you've done and lab work that you've done, and certainly academics. For us as an industry-focused program, I'd like to see a balance, and a balance that makes sense, again, for that candidate individually. There's, again, no one-size-fits-all. So if you're coming directly from your undergrad, from your bachelor degree, maybe those letters are all from academics, and that's fine, right? That's where you're at.
Yeah.
Maybe it's also from, an internship too, right?
Mm.
If you're 5 years out, are you really realistically still in touch with your professors? Probably not usually. So I would rather see letters that are connected to a supervisor or a client or a former, company that's recent. So like whatever represents your profile, whatever addresses where you're at and your progression, professionally and academically. And then most importantly though, like who will give you the strongest letters? Yeah. It's not for us at least. I'm not worried about what someone's title is or how high up they are in an organization, right? I'm not worried if it's the principal director of a campus versus a newer faculty member. Those things don't factor in for me. It's really about the quality. How much does the person know you, and how much do they care to write you a strong letter? So take those things into account, I would say, when you're asking recommenders.
Yeah. And I would, correct me if this is incorrect, correct me. Is this also applicable to other universities? Because I know this is your personal opinion, but I feel like it would be applicable to everybody else, anybody else who's going to either computer science or again, like you said, if it is a research-oriented, thesis-oriented, yes, but the thought behind who knows you better will probably have a stronger LOR versus it's an head of department or it's a director of a program or something like that.
Yeah, absolutely. I think, there's that human element that comes into this situation, as an applicant for a program. And so, I think this guidance would be applicable across most programs and review processes, as long as that process includes a review of LORs, right? That it's not necessarily about somebody's org chart. It's about how much they can speak to you as a person, your dedication, your curiosity, your professionalism, your ability to learn, your upskilling, your contributions, and also like your personality, right? So focus on somebody that knows you, that cares about you, and that wants to help you succeed. And those are the kind of people that I would be asking to write LORs for me.
Love it. You've already kind of talked about interviews, like what do you look for, casual, non-casual? Do they have to dress formally?
Good question. You're getting me on some good ones here.
Another question I get asked, so I'm like, okay, I'll ask the one who's making the decision.
I love that we're just doing it here. We're laying it open. We do not have a requirement that dress is formal. We have admitted plenty of students who wore a suit and a tie or a dress or formal attire. We've admitted students that, were in very casual clothing, but you still have to be professional in this sense, right? So, making sure you're in a place without interruptions, of noise, ideally speaking, even if you're dressed more casually, that's, for us, okay, as long as you're still demonstrating professional verbal and nonverbal behaviors, right? If you're treating this like something that it matters to you,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And I think in kind of today's work culture, there's more flexibility with attire, and I guess we try to reflect that with our interviews as far as those requirements go. But again, you want to show up with energy, with positive attitude, that you've prepared, and that you're bringing your best version to the conversation. And as long as you can do that, your attire, I think we're pretty flexible.
Yeah. So would you say, is it just safer to have blazer, shirt?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
You can't go wrong.
Yeah.
You can always remove the
But
blazer.
you're not overdressed, is
You
what I'm
cannot
asking.
overdress.
Yeah. Yeah.
I would love to see more tuxedos in interviews.
Yeah. Okay, cool.
Can that be the headline of the
yes,
video?
that would be
Program
the-
director recommends tuxedo.
You won't get admit unless you wear tuxedo. Right. Okay, so we're kind of ending the podcast. I don't even know how long I can keep talking and I'll keep asking. This has been great. Thank you for all the insight.
Super fun.
Now that student has admitted, they might have some time before they come, and maybe they are in Purdue. They'll already know how to maximize their experience in Purdue. But let's say they are not, and they're going to other programs or other universities. How can one international student who's coming for their engineering management program maximize so that they can get the industry opportunities and all of that?
Yeah, very good question. I think the first thing I would recommend, and again, this is not Purdue specific, this is MEM program, right? First recommendation would be, being very consistent and intentional about connecting with current students and alums, so that you can start to be a part of the community and view yourself as part of the community, right? But when you're doing that, you're reaching out not to ask for a referral or something. You're reaching out to say, hey, we're now in this space together. We're part of the same MEM community. What do I need to know? What can I do to put myself in a good position, right? How did you find your role? So I think that's one thing. Start connecting to the current students and alums of your program. I think the second thing is get all of your, I guess I would call them job search tools ready. So just because your resume got you admitted to the program doesn't mean that's the resume you need for the job search, right? The same thing with a cover letter. The same thing with your LinkedIn profile. Keep working on those tools so that they're ready for you when you get to your program. I think a third thing would be, is there any upskilling or sort of foundational knowledge exposure that you want before you get to the program? So that just might be some Coursera, online brush-ups.
Yeah.
If it's been a while since you were taking quantitative courses or something along those lines, or you're really wanting to make sure you've got, a foundational SQL understanding or Python or something, or, data visualization tools, this is a good place to use, good way to use that time to prepare yourself, because once you start your classes, that's going to be your focus. Let's see. I get, an unorthodox piece of advice. Take a break. Whether you're coming from your bachelor program, whether you're coming from work, you're going through a big transition to make, this change, this next step in your development.
Yeah.
So go take that trip to the Maldives, right? Go take that week or two off to do some trekking.
Yeah.
Or just, get some rest and be with your family. I think that really sets a nice bookend.
Reset.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I think you'll be really glad that you made some additional memories and gave yourself the chance to kind of decompress before you make that, move in many cases.
Yeah.
Those are a few thoughts.
Yeah, and I think one of the other things that you had mentioned when we were doing the India events is, which I really loved, was communication skill. And the thing that you mentioned about that is that we are always communicating, whether it's verbal, whether it's on video, email, texting, and how much valued it is in getting a job or thriving in the job or even in your program. How can one improve their communication skill?
Okay. Great question as well. Lots of great questions today. I think the first thing to do is want to improve your communication skills, right? Like this will not happen accidentally or through osmosis of some variety, right? So you really need to want to get better in this area. And then once you realize we all, maybe not you, I need to get better. I need to get better always in my communication, right? So then be intentional about that, whether that's joining a Toastmasters group, whether that's, getting involved in a student organization where you're doing, 0 to 1 competitions or hackathons or cases and, product teardowns. Like, it gives you an opportunity and requires you to present in front of people and use Exponent, that wonderful tool to do peer reviews and interviews. Gosh, what else? Take a class like our engineering leadership class where it's talking to you about executive presence, warmth and gravitas and being succinct, where you're talking about, communication verbally and non-verbally, even in digital platforms and in your writing style, along with, the face-to-face things. So
yeah, 100%. Love it, Eric. Thank you so much for doing this.
It was fun.
This was great. I can't wait to do this again. Maybe in a year we'll have more data and we'll probably do another round of this. I'll get to talk to some of the students hopefully soon as well. Can't wait to visit Vaslava and make sure the weather is good for me.
Yeah. We'll make sure. Well, I think, we got to meet at Purdue's campus. We had a little time in India together.
Yeah.
Now we're here in Silicon Valley.
California.
What's next? We'll see.
This has been good. Awesome. Thank you again. But until our next one.
Yeah. Keep smiling. Keep hustling.
Nice.